right? So anybody who's in schools right now knows that it seems like every year there's this movement writing across the curriculum. But it suffers from the same problem that the English teachers suffer from, which is we tell teachers what to do, but nobody bothers to tell them how to do it, right? This is the biggest frustration. We all want to do the right thing. We all want our kids to be learning better, but nobody gives us the tools we need. The book, the resources online, they're all designed with activities that can very easily be reimagined in a math class, in an art class, in a history class. I'm not going to say that my platform is the only way that people can bring writing across the curriculum. I think the reason that I wrote the book and what I personally find so valuable about it is that it was literally designed to be flexible. It was literally designed so that it wasn't me telling a teacher that this is how you have to teach. It was me suggesting to a teacher that this is a way you could teach, and you have the flexibility to use it the way I suggest or to do whatever you need to do to tweak it, but it gives them the step-by-step guide. And I don't think you have to be an English teacher to be able to follow the steps. There might be some technical terms here and there that you're like, well, I don't know what that word is, throw that out. But you can do the things, right? If you can follow IKEA instructions, you can do the book much easier than you can follow IKEA instructions. So it's literally step by step. This is how long I suggest you take. It has tips, suggestions, and it can absolutely be used in pretty much any classroom. In fact, I just created a lesson plan called Staycation, and it's place-based writing. You could do that in a geography class. You could do that in a history class. You could do that in an art class where you use certain locations to fuel creative writing tasks. So you can absolutely tie it into any curriculum you need to.
There's a question in the chat. Have you considered working with Girls Inc?
This is honestly the first that I'm hearing about it. So I'm certainly open to working with anybody that would like to collaborate or would need help or support or is interested in sort of cross collaboration. Absolutely.
Sure. Andrea, it's Barbara. Can you hear me? I'm the one that submitted that question. Girls Inc. is a client of mine.
Okay.
And I've worked with them for the last year, and I've been associated with them for many years, but they are fantastic. There's a national edition of them, or not edition, there's a national group and then local. I work with the local group, but they have been recognized just recently. Well, let me just back up for a second. They work with girls who are from 5 years old through high school traditionally. Now they've just gotten new funding that takes them through college. And the new funding came from a grant that was approved for them that was developed by or approved by the two ex-wives of Bill Gates and Bezos. They teamed up and they awarded Girls Inc. $10 million to do certain things, to follow a certain path. And that was to start working with college students and mentors and all kinds of things. So maybe we can talk offline about it, because I think it would be a great connection for you, because they are all about STEM and making sure these kids, and also teaching the kids things that they can go home and teach their family. Financial literacy is huge for their children. So yeah, because they come from underprivileged neighborhoods, and the parents never completed school. So the kids are bringing this new information home. So anyway.
Yeah, I'd be absolutely happy to chat with you a little bit more for sure.
You betcha. Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, thank you for having me. In the chat, I'm going to post two links. One is a link to the slideshow, and the other is a preview of the book. It gets you through the introductory chapter, and then it shows you that first full lesson plan. So you can see, what the differentiations, and those are just recommendations. You can obviously adjust for your classes as you need to, but it gives you a sense of the differentiation strategies, the unit integrations, the extension things, and how you can kind of adjust it. And then if you have any questions, just for sure, let me know. I'll put my contact information in the email.
I have a quick comment, Andrea. I'd like for you to describe, if you could, it's just curious, because when you just defined how students sit there and they're about to write, and then it occurs to them that, I can express my thoughts, my ideas, and I can creatively discuss matters with you. Describe for me what happens to you when you see that light go off and there, yeah.
I mean, I think it's the same thing that happens to any educator, that moment where the kid gets excited about something, especially if it's something that you thought, oh, they're going to hate this, right? And they're like, oh, right. You tell a kid you're going to write for 60 minutes, they don't usually smile at that, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it kind of reaffirms as an educator why we're doing what we're doing, because it's really not about us, it's about them. And especially when you have a student who said, like I had one student who left a comment saying, I never really thought about writing before when I was younger, and none of my teachers ever really made me feel like I could write. And this is the first year where I feel like I can do the thing. And she wasn't saying like, you showed me how to do this. She was saying, I can do this thing, right? That sense of empowerment. And that's exactly what we want. I think any educator in here knows, you don't want the kid to be able to do the thing when you're standing right there. That's great. But when you're not there, can they do the thing when you're not there? And to have the students get excited about it, and also to see the different directions they take. Like I had one girl that was a videographer. Everything she did was film. I had one boy who absolutely detested English, hated English, let me know he hated English. And he turned out to be this brilliant web designer. And he created these amazing web presentations. And he thought he was getting away with something because he was like, well, haha, it's not writing. But I was like, haha, yes, it is. So, it's fun to see the kids be themselves and to see them get so excited about the fact that people are listening to them. They're not doing the thing that I want them to do. They're doing the thing that they want them to do. And I think that's what makes all the difference. They're still learning, right? I mean, I think it's important to make sure that everything we're doing still serves a goal. You don't want to be that cool teacher that isn't actually teaching. But if they can learn the content and actually love what they're doing, why would you do it any other way?
Sounds great.
Donna has asked whether you have a podcast or a YouTube channel.
So I don't have a podcast yet. I'll be honest with you. I'm still getting used to the sound of my own voice. It sounds bizarre to me to hear it. And I know I have bad equipment. I literally just talk through the microphone, so it's very tinny. So maybe at some point. I just started a YouTube channel. It's got, I think, 3 posts on it. So it's not super exciting yet. But what I'm hoping to do is start talking about some of the strategies so that teachers in different curriculums or administrators or things like that, they can figure out engaging ways to create PD or activities for students that maybe are a little outside the box, but work, right? Because I think the reason most of us rely on writing formulas is because that's literally the only tool they've ever given us. And so the hope is to start creating more YouTube videos that give teachers more tools.
Well, thank you so much, Andrea. You've lit a candle. You've lit thousands of candles in the school system, candles of learning. And you've lit a spark of joy. Everyone who now looks at writing, your students who look at writing not as a necessary source of tedium, but something to look forward to. And thank you for sharing the journey with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Very good. Awesome.